is Optimus Prime. And here is an awesome video review from Jesse. Now watch as he lights our darkest hour.
Welcome to another Transformers Masterpiece review. This time we're looking at the Masterpiece Fan Choice winner, and that is MP-24 Star Saber from the late Generation 1 Transformers Victory show. Now, this was announced back in 2013 that this figure won the competition, and I don't think it was a big surprise that it won. It was a big fan favorite among the Japanese Transformers series, and this was a personal one that I was really hoping to get, because next to Fortress Maximus, JE1 Star Saber is always a grail, and this goes even more beyond that. But we have a lot of toy to cover here, so here he is. This is Star Saber in his combined jet mode, and it is very, very impressive. Very much like the original Star Saber mode. It does have some bits of die cast in the rear, where these rear thrusters here are die cast, every single one of them, and it adds a good amount of weight to the figure too. It does have Autobot symbols here on the wings. Very nice solid white here. Some people might say that this white is kind of boring, but I like it. It really makes it feel like a pure figure. And these bits here are also die cast. And I got him on his stand, which is very cleverly made out of his shield. We'll go ahead and set this aside, and it stays on pretty well. I was a little bit apprehensive about using his shield as a stand, but it's really nice. And you gotta take this part out here and put in his regular shield part, and there you have it. And you can just do whatever you want with this. Doesn't really do anything else. If you don't have it on the stand, what you can do is fold out these bits here, and you'll see a landing gear is sticking out here. A little bit tricky to get all the bits out. Especially this one wheel, it's not cooperating with me all too well. There we go. And then you fold out this bit here, and then more wheels pop out. And there you have him with all of his landing gear out. Now, also, along with the landing gear, he's got some storage, or not storage, hidden missile pods here. Basically what you gotta do is kind of wiggle it out, and this will fold up. Oddly enough, this, as far as I could tell, this little bit was not in the instructions, but pretty simple and neat. And the die cast really does add a good amount of weight. That is basically it for the Star Saber combined jet mode. To form just a regular Saber jet, gotta open up these panels underneath and press this button on top, and it helps release the jet. And set this guy off the side right now. Fold out the wings here. These wings go up, and these little white wings go down like this. And folding out the landing gears is pretty simple. Just get underneath here. Actually, I was doing it the wrong way. And once more in the back, and here's Saber in his standard jet mode. This is a very, very nice looking jet mode. Very sleek, very kind of Macross style looking. It probably doesn't help the Macross feeling when you see there's a little pilot in there, but we'll get to him in a minute. And it's all around real nice. Got some nice chrome gold here on the back, and that becomes a very eye-catching in Star Saber robot mode. Got, I believe these are just plastic afterburners here in the rear, but I try to feel they might be die cast. In fact, I think they actually are, because I feel cold, and when you feel plastic it just feels neutral. But I think these might be die cast, but I can't be 100% sure on that. Only real downside about this is that you can pretty much see the robot mode right there, which it's fine, because it still looks pretty slick from the side view here. Just you can see pretty much his whole body there. If we open up the cockpit here like this, and we take out the brain of courage. Here we go. Get a real up close view of him. You see that he's like half the size of Spike and Daniel that came with MP-24 Ultra Magnus, but this has way more paint on it, which is outstanding. And I always thought it was funny that the brain of courage looked just like Star Saber, just on a super miniature scale, like even from the details of the chest here to the arm colors, the leg colors, the face plate, the eyes. Like, it just super detailed. And I really like this little guy. And his arms go up and down, his legs go front to back, and that's all you can really expect. He does have a peg in the back as well. Transforming the Saber jet into the Saber robot mode is fairly simple. First we need to fold up the landing gear here, take off the nose cone, fold these wings back like this, and fold these wings back, and then just kind of accordion out the legs. You hear a lot of clickety ratchets there. Separate the legs, fold out the feet like so, and fold out or rotate out the arms, and the forearms will fold out as well. Fold out the hands. And then one of the gimmicks I was looking forward to the most in this figure, you open up the chest compartment here, and you take the brain of courage, and you kind of got to press it down in there, like go in and down. And it doesn't like to do it the first time because there's a peg in the back of his body, and you gotta slide in there, and the head will slide up. And see it one more time. Put it in there, and the face slides up. And amazingly enough, the head has articulation, which is, I'm not sure how they figured that out. That's really amazing. Now, also last bit, you gotta take his nose cone, and this will slide over his shoulder here to form his shield. Now this is a form that Star Saber doesn't really take all too often in the show. He really only does this a couple times, and that's really just to be on an equal footing, more on a smaller footing with John's parents, or not parents, teachers, because basically Star Saber is a foster parent to John, one of the human kid of the series, because his parents died when he was a baby, and Star Saber, Lear the Autobot's actually kind of adopted him, which is really interesting. But whenever he tries to, when Star Saber, usually especially like in the second or third episode when Star Saber met with his teachers, he is in this form. You know, just to be a little bit smaller, less intimidating, which is pretty cool. Like I said, his head does swivel some. His shoulders go in and out. 90-degree bend at the elbow. Very heavy, clicky, ratchet, especially forward. And no side-to-side movement. The only way you can get some side-to-side movement is if you, like, twisted his thigh around, but then it just won't look quite right. And actually I got twisted up there too. And a little, I mean, just because of transformation, a little bit of foot articulation there. He can hold his smaller sword, which comes in two pieces. This hilt doesn't really do anything, but you can snap the small sword in his hand, and you open up his palm, and kind of gotta swivel it in there, and there you go. He's got, and now this is a version of the sword that never came with a Generation 1 version, which is really interesting. And that's about it for this guy. Like it a lot. Really cool little guy. I like the detailing on the face, stern, and a visor for the eyes. I always like the visor eyes like that. Amazing, amazing little guy. Now, this figure doesn't necessarily have that type of like piloting gimmick, but in the show, Saber could like ride the V-Star like this, like fly around, which seemed awful useless to me. But you can, if you want, like have it on the stand and have Saber ride on top of it. Something like that would be kind of interesting, but everyone knows that's not what you're gonna do. Alright, on to the big guy himself. We'll finally get him transformed into Star Saber. Alright, to transform the V-Star, first off, we're very simply go to fold in the landing gear here. And on the front here. And this is going to get pretty big real fast. Fold in these bits of the wings, fold these in, and first just going to detach this bit here, like so. And when you transform him back into jet mode, there's a button here that releases this, because it's locked really well in place, but really neat there. Locks in place. Fold out the feet. Like this. So you get in place, and a really clever bit here. Like same with the Generation 1, it didn't have hardly any leg articulation because of the transformation gimmick of this going out inside. But go ahead and you turn it this way, you turn the thigh piece around and the leg back around, and now it'll have leg articulation, which is really clever. I'm really surprised by that little bit there. Going up to the arms, and he's getting pretty big. You could pull out the arms here and rotate the arm around. You don't have to keep it like that. You can collapse it back in place just like that, You don't have to rotate the mid-arm around. And you can keep the fists this way too. The fists slide in place no matter what. Open up this chest piece here. And actually, before we do anything else, you can leave the helmet on this little gimmick here, this little thing that clamps onto it, and it's designed to come off when you form the Star Saber robot mode. But I'm actually going to go ahead and detach it because it does make it a lot easier just to have the piece separate. And even when you do get the helmet on, it's kind of difficult to take this clamp off, so we're going to go ahead and fold that back down. Next up, we got to take Saber and basically start to transform him back into a jet almost, with the arms and clamping the legs together. Fold these in. And then fold his legs over himself like this. And get that last little bit of click there. Just not really. There we go. Like that. And got Saber transformed. And then bring in the big body and press down this button here in the back, which releases that clamp, and everything will snap in place. Especially in the shoulders. And then fold. And now we got the torso locked in place. And oddly enough, this is a way that you'd see Star Saber a lot throughout the series. Because a lot of times if he was in battle, he didn't have this mask on, you'd see his regular saber head. Except, you know, in the cartoon it was twice the size just to make it look so silly. But it kind of passed in the Generation 1 figure. But for this one, it doesn't really quite look all that great. But take the Star Saber head and slide it over there. Fold the face down, ears out, and there you have Star Saber. And I cannot tell you how awesome this thing is. It is really huge, but we'll get into size comparisons towards the end. And out of the masterpieces since MP-10, it is definitely the biggest. The second biggest is now Ultra Magnus, and I do believe it is actually a tad bit taller than the MP-01 Optimus Prime, but we'll check that out in a little bit. I love the face of this guy. He has a very stern kind of Optimus Prime, almost like a super Optimus Prime face, with the face mask and the antennas and stuff. Like, you see the chrome looks really nice here. Autobot symbols on shoulders. All around is super great. Now, the Generation 1 figure also looked great, just, you know, obviously not as good as this, but one thing that this guy definitely has over the Generation 1 is articulation. He has ratcheting shoulders here, and his arms go out a little bit, but to give a little bit more articulation, the at the biceps do have another bend there, and he's got a double elbow joint because of that, but you know, it doesn't quite go all the way up. But you know, this guy is super bulky, so it's okay to forgive that. He does oh shit, one thing I forgot to do, I forgot to transform this piece on the back here and fold this piece up like so. I just now realized that when I was looking at his waist articulation. Sorry about that. Take, you know, this is what the waist, and he actually also has an ab crunch. How awesome is that? And he does have very ratcheting, clicky legs. His 8 legs go in and out also, and his feet are really articulated. Now let's take a look at his feet. He actually has where it's like kind of die-cast metal here at his feet. You can get a closer look here. It kind of looks like it could be designed to have, say, a Masterpiece Victory Leo peg in place for the feet. And the designer of this was asked about it, and no, is there going to be a Victory Leo? And he was kind of dismissive about the question. So they may not have one planned yet, but they obviously took some ideas and put them into the figure. So, you know, they're at least having in the back of their minds like, we have to at least include something in the figure in case we ever do make a Star Saber or Victory Leo, so we can make a Victory Saber. Alright, as far as his weapons go, you take the nose cone of the Saber jet and open it up here, and you'll slide in this one piece to make a longer hilt. Oh, actually, if you really, I forgot to mention this for the regular Saber, but if you really wanted him to hold this Mega Saber, you can fold this piece out for the smaller hilt, but no one's really going to want to do it. It'll look silly. Fold that back in, and this will slide in place like there. It'll become a long handle for a sword. And open this piece up right here. Kind of looks like a menacing. Kind of looks like a evil bird right there. Open that up. Put the sword in place, and there's the Saber. Now, okay, we get into his hand here, and you know, it doesn't really peg in place anywhere, but oh, I actually put his sword in backwards. How about that? I screwed up. Surprise, surprise. Alright, there he is, and his sword is a nice chrome. Looks amazing. He also comes with a gun, which we'll get into storage with these weapons later on. This gun folds out and put it in his other hand, like there. And he also, of course, comes with a shield, which I don't think the Generation 1 came with a shield. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but it might. Fold up the fist back a little bit, and there you go. Here is Star Saber, all armed up. How awesome and out of focus is this guy? Just a amazing looking piece. Size comparison time. You can see that next to the very first Masterpiece, which was the biggest Masterpiece out of the old line, MP-01, he is a tad bit just like maybe like from like the head to the top of the head, not counting antennas or the shoulders, he is like maybe a quarter or a half of a centimeter taller than MP-01, and you can see that he, out of the previous biggest figure out of the new line of masterpieces, Ultra Magnus, he is probably about 2 centimeters taller. So old and new, this is the new biggest masterpiece. Now, as far as storage of the weapons go, you can, this is amazing. I love this part. You can fold this piece in, out, and you can slide in the smaller sword right here. It'll lock in place. You can take, if you really wanted to, you could take the whole saber here and have it stay in place, but that looks really silly. But what you could really do is put the sword in by itself, close it up, and this will peg in place here on the side, like so. Easier said than done. There we go. And then you can take his gun. You gotta fold it in so that this piece is out, and you can store the gun right there also. So it's really nice that they included these bits to store the weapons. Alright, that basically wraps it up for the details on this figure. So time for my, man, I love this pose. I actually forgot to mention articulation, that his shoulders can actually detach from the body and, you know, swivel out a little bit more like that, you know, swinging his sword like that. I love this figure. I am absolutely in love with this figure. It is definitely my favorite masterpiece figure right now, and that's saying a lot, especially since, you know, the MP-10, the Grimlock, the Soundwaves, the Ultra Magnuses, the masterpieces have just been getting better and better each time ever since MP-10. This is far greater than what I could have expected. It brought everything I wanted into a masterpiece Star Saber, and then some. It looks great. The transformation is really fun and simple, but not, you know, dumbed down simple. It still has a lot of clever little bits here and there. The accessories are awesome. The shield is awesome. The Brain Master gimmick is awesome, and it just all around is an amazing figure. And I would if you're in any way interested in getting this guy, get this guy now, because with how popular Star Saber is, and this figure started out fairly cheap, especially when you look at the first runs of MP-09 and MP-10. MP-10 was started as $250. This is like much cheaper than that. I can't say exactly how much, I forget, but it's amazing figure. You definitely get your money's worth with this guy. 10 out of 10, perfect figure, one of the best robot modes of any Transformer right now, and I cannot recommend this piece anymore. Alright guys, you can pick this up at bigbadtoystar.com. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/ssjautobot. You can Instagram me too, ssjautobot, and you can follow me at Twitch at twitch.tv/ssj_autobot, and I'll catch you next time.